Hey, Mother Nature, go yourself. Sincerely, Husker Nation. Welcome to College Football Hangover. Now, what is College Football Hangover? You're asking yourselves. Well, this is loudandopinionated.com's college football recap show. And I'm your host, Jake Williams, but I want to do something different. I wanted to give you a show that's a little bit off kilter from what you normally get for a college football recap show. We're going to talk about football, but we're going to do it in a more humorous take because I think we too often take this stuff way too seriously. So first, let's talk about the top 10, which overall didn't take much of a change because, it's the first game of the season. Not a lot of teams schedule real opponents, of course, the exceptions being Miami and Auburn and I guess maybe Alabama if you count Louisville. Speaking of Alabama, let's talk about Nick Saban's post-game interview.
All right, Coach, everyone had questions about who was going to start at quarterback when this game started. What answers did you have about your quarterbacks after watching both of them play tonight?
Well, I still like both guys. I think both guys are good players. I think both guys can help our team. All right, so why do you continually try to get me to say something that doesn't respect one of them? I'm not going to, so quit asking.
Believe it or not, he won that football game 51-14, and he was that cranky. Could you imagine if he had lost this game? Honestly, was it a little bit of an overreaction? Sure. Was it a good question? Yes. Nick, you know this is going to happen. This is what always happens when you have a powerhouse school and you have two quarterbacks, man. You just got to get over it. Moving down the list of the top 25, number 2, Clemson. They have a quarterback controversy? Not really. Kelly Bryant's your starter. He's going to be your starter. It's important to get the other guy in there. I don't even know his name. That's how little of a controversy we have. You got to get him in there because you're playing Furman, for Pete's sake. You got to get your second string ready to go for your next game, which is Texas A&M, which a lot of people say is going to be a good game. Game day is going to be there. I'm not sold on it. Texas A&M's always a lackluster team. New coach, different story. Moving on. Number 3, Georgia had a solid game against Austin Peay. Moving down the list, Wisconsin beats Western Kentucky 34-3. Not surprising. Ohio State had some controversy. Remember that? Yeah, they won 77-31 against the Beavers. Number 6, Washington actually scheduled a real opponent. We have a real football game. That's right, number 6, Washington took on number 9, Auburn, and it was actually surprisingly a defensive game. I know I didn't predict that.
I don't know a score. I would say probably 38-35. I think there's going to be a lot of scoring in that one.
Yeah, what a moron. Jordan Stidham looked great, but I think the most important thing is no Auburn player could pull off what Gus Malzahn did. That's definitely the face of a guy who's going to go like 9-3. To number 7, Oklahoma. And let's just say the lane train got derailed. 42-0 at halftime. Kyler Murray looking like he's Mike Vick from Madden 2004. Nobody can tackle on Florida Atlantic, and of course, the Sooners win 63-14. My goodness, the best tackle of the day came from this ref.
Best defensive play we've seen yet against Oklahoma. How about this? Oh, he tried to even. Did you see me?
Tried to get skinny.
He tried to get skinny. Oh, A.D. Miller is going to get roasted in film for getting tackled by the official.
Number 8, Miami. They just played, I'm recording this on a Sunday, and they actually just wrapped up playing. Holy crap, they are not as good as I thought they were. They have got to get a running game. They've got to get an offense because that defense can only hold them up for so long. When you give up 33 points to LSU, you got a problem. Not taking away from what the Tigers did. Stop, SEC fans. I know how you all collectively get that group think and want to hunt me down because I don't like the SEC. I got to give credit where credit's due. LSU played a heck of a football game, and they've got a great future. Also, what do you guys think of my Ed Ogeron impersonation?
Yeah, we did a good job. We played football. Go Tigers.
I can do better, but that's what I got right. Of course, we already know about number 9, Auburn, taking care of business against the Washington Huskies. I mean, seriously, though, look at Gus Malzahn. That's a guy that's definitely going to lose to Alabama this year. And number 10, Penn State. Now, I want to talk about Penn State at length because this is important. Because when they had played Appalachian State on Saturday, that was, as everybody wants to talk about, that was 11 years ago that the greatest thing in college football happened, and it was this.
Here we go. They're going to kick the field goal. Gingell out of the hold of Mesco. Good snap. Good hold. And the kick is blocked. Appalachian State has stunned the college football world. One of the greatest upsets in sports history.
So you would think that at this point, a Big Ten school would learn not to schedule App State at home. They didn't. This one took overtime, and it took this play.
Big Sorley, quick toss, Polk's got it, first down, and out of bounds.
A 4th and 2 conversion late in the football game just to tie it, to take it to overtime. Holy crap, App State played a hell of a football game. But don't worry, Penn State fans, they won, and I'm sure Penn State's going to get back on track and be one of the best teams in the Big Ten East. Sit down. So now that that's out of the way, we've talked about the top 10. There's one thing I want to leave you guys with in this show, and that is this. Texas is back at being mediocre. So head coach Tom Herman, you guys know how I feel about him lately. loudandopinionated.com, also in the link below for the YouTube video. Wink. So Texas has to play Maryland again. They do the home-and-home series. They played them last year and lost. When everybody said last year that they thought Texas was back, guess what? They're definitely back this year. Or not. They played in a swamp at the fourth quarter. And I just got to say this. Stop putting so much hype behind these teams. Granted, I was wrong. I have someone who said that Notre Dame was overhyped and they took care of Michigan. But this is a prime example of saying a team is back all the time. Miami also fell victim to this too against LSU. We can't constantly say a team is back being this national power that they were just because they've had a good season last season. Texas had a serviceable season. Miami had a great season except for losing 3 games at the end of the year. But we got to stop doing that. Because when you do that, you look really silly with saying this team is back. They're back. They're back. Because they're not. They're back at being mediocre. Ever since Mac Brown left, everybody's been trying to say that Charlie Strong in his 3rd year, Texas is back. Tom Herman, he's the genius from Houston. They're back. They're not back yet. Will they probably be back? I hope for Texas Nation because Austin might burn to the ground if Texas keeps being mediocre. Before we leave this show, I want to talk about the biggest winner of the weekend. We got to talk about Mother Nature. She won the week. Multiple games were delayed, including Maryland versus Texas, Tennessee versus West Virginia, some other ones, and some games were even canceled. As I mentioned before, Nebraska's game was canceled, and that one was probably the worst because we got this.
Watch out, boys. Here come the big folks. And there's Scott Frost.
That walk, you know?
But in a different capacity tonight. Smile. Enjoy it, Scott.
Nothing in the world like college football.
You can't tease me, build me up to those kind of emotions, make me come to almost tears and full of excitement and have goosebumps, and then just cut me off. Oh, and Iowa State, they also didn't get to play. I got to mention that because they're my second team. I adopted them because, significant others. And lastly, I want to end this show the same way every week. We used to do this on our original football podcast, The Audible. I want to talk about the hack of the week. This week's honors go to Syracuse quarterback Eric Dungy. You notice how he wears the number 2? This dude is trying way too hard to be Johnny Manziel. And that's not the role model you want, dude. It's not. He's playing Canadian football, and he sucks at Canadian football. You know how bad that is? That's just another level of just, ugh. Then he proceeds to do other douchey things, and then he ends it with the money sign. Eric Dungy, you are the star quarterback at Syracuse. Syracuse, dude. That's it. Are you kidding? You're not Donovan McNabb. That's the best quarterback they've ever had in their history. You're not him, man. You're just not. Thank you for watching the first episode of College Football Hangover. We're coming to you every week on Monday to talk about the biggest headlines in college football the past week, the highlights, the lowlights, and everything in between. Thank you so much. Click that like button if you liked it. Thumbs down if you're probably Eric Dungy. Hit that subscribe button, and then click the bell so you're notified when Loud and Opinionated goes up, or our football podcast, The Audible, and of course this show. Thanks so much.